Hare Krishna, Gaur Premanandi.
Hare Krishna, everyone. Thank you for being here with us for another beautiful Sunday event. And I can see your faces are here. Thank you for being here. Welcome to our places. Of course, I know you. You come here more. You are bringing more friends, I guess. This time here. So most of you, I think you know Max. Today he's going to give a nice talk. Almost like the TED talk we have, motivational talk. Guidance to spirituality. So thank you, Max, for taking on this opportunity of,
Tony Robbins in the spiritual world.
taking us to the spiritual world. Wow, that's amazing. Right, so all of us can give our full attention to him, and if you have your phones on voice up, leave it on silent, so don't make him disturbed throughout this session. So we all pay full attention to his talk. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Over to you, Max.
Hare Krishna. Thank you everybody for coming. Welcome to our Sunday feast lecture portion, at least. Thank you to all my friends for being open-minded and coming today. So what we just sang there was a song glorifying God, and it's a very sweet song if you look into the lyrics, and it just kind of helps set the mood, set the energy going forward. And now, together, we're going to chant what's called the invocation prayers. So the invocation prayers just means we're going to pay the respects that are due to the spiritual masters that came before us and gave us all the knowledge that we're talking about today. And then what that is also going to do is also kind of purify the atmosphere a little bit and set the mood and the energy right for the day and for our little lecture going on. Okay, so we can all go together. Om Chakshurum Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Svapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yata Padakalam Shri Guru Vaishnavam Cha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatham Tam Sajivam Sarvetam Savadrutam Harijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Shri Shakamitam Cha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabando Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapayanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Haripliye Mancharavatanyasya Krimasindhu Devacha Panitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Okay, so now I would like for us also together to chant the Prabhupada Pranam mantras. So Pranam mantra for Prabhupada means a mantra in glorification of Prabhupada, paying respects to His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, who is the revered founder and spiritual master of the International Society of Krishna Consciousness. This society, we are one chapter, I guess you could call, of this international society that is a non-sectarian society aimed at bringing everyone closer together by getting closer to the source, God, the source of everything. So, one question, does anybody have Prabhupada's first pranam mantra memorized. Does anybody have that meaning offer? Vishwatamukha Prabhu?
Have my respectful obeisances unto His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, who's following in the footsteps of his spiritual master, Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati, and is very, oh, that's the second one. Anyway.
Stand first one for now.
Okay, and is very,
Having taken shelter.
having taken shelter, is very dear to Krishna, having taken shelter at his lotus feet.
Okay, so we can all chant together the first pranam mantra. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Namane. And then does anyone have the translation for the second one? Maybe other than Vishwatamukha Prabhu. Does anyone have that translation down? Or at least an approximation that's brave enough to speak up? No? Not even you, KP?
Open your phone.
Open your phone.
Where are the microphones go?
Yeah, it's one is here.
Okay.
They have the microphone. Others.
Yeah, I do.
You have to volunteer.
Put it on the spot.
That's a nice one, huh?
Yeah. Well, I don't even know the full translation word for word, so maybe I shouldn't be asking. But at least it goes something like, I offer my respectful obeisances to Srila Prabhupada, who is a disciple of Saraswati Goswami, and has come to the West, come to deliver the Western world, which has become filled with impersonalism and voidism. That's the approximation. So we can chant that one together. Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Shatanine. And we'll touch on why that second one is important a bit later on.
Max, before you begin, can you move to some little because you are up, but the so your head can.
Get closer to all of you. Okay.
Camera's good.
So, proper respects have been paid to those who deserve it. And we ask for their mercy and for their guidance in speaking on today's subject matter. And don't worry, that was the most esoteric part of today's class, for the most part. So, before we dive in, I would like to say, I already said it, but welcome everybody. To all the devotees that I see every single Sunday, thank you so much for coming again and making such a push to come. I'm so grateful to be in the presence of all of you and to be inspired by you time and time again. And especially those devotees who I see multiple times during the week and come hang out and do service. Thank you so much for your association. Thank you for coming today. So I'd like to offer my humble obeisances to those devotees. And then for anybody else who may be coming for the first time, and or the second, or maybe the first time for a class, thank you for coming. Thank you for having an open mind. Because it takes two. It takes one, the people who are dedicated and coming here every single week and have devoted their lives to this. And two, it takes open-minded people to kind of set the atmosphere correctly. You know, it takes a special kind of person to come immerse themselves in a completely foreign, strange, weird culture for an hour and a half. And so I would like to say thank you and offer my respects because, at least for me, looking back in time, there's no chance that I would have come to something like this. So thank you for coming. I'd like to say, offer my respectful obeisances and say thank you to Bhakta Das Prabhu and Shraddhanjali Devi Dasi Mataji for giving me this opportunity and so many opportunities to attempt to serve Srila Prabhupada and this mission, and for giving me so much guidance and loving support every single day. So thank you very much. And most humble, respectful obeisances to His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, for bringing us all together and making all this possible. Alright, so today what we'll be doing is reading from a book called the Bhagavad Gita. So quickly, anybody know what Bhagavad Gita translates to? You can just...
Song of God.
Song? Song of God. So, by the way, to set the scene a little bit, this class is more open discussion, open format. I'm going to be throwing a lot of questions out there, maybe targeted at one person, maybe not. So feel free to chime in whenever you please. If you have any questions, especially in the back, just raise your hand like that. We have mics floating around and everything. So as soon as you have a question or a problem even, just stop me. That's okay too. This is not a formal environment. So we're reading this book called The Song of God. And the Song of God was originally a song, obviously. And it was spoken. It was spoken by God. And one of the ways that we know it was spoken by God is because we know the entire, and I'll show this later, but we know the entire chain of disciplic succession that brought all this information and this song, especially, to the present day. We know by name everybody that heard and then spoke to the next person and then eventually wrote down all this information. And not only the song itself, but the knowledge that comes with it. Because there's one thing, there's the song, and then there's the interpretation of the song, just like everything. We have facts and then interpretation. So this is where the term bona fide comes in. We have a spiritual master and founder, Srila Prabhupada, who, what he did was bring this Bhagavad Gita, this song of the Lord, and translated it into English, first of all, so that we can understand. And not only did that, but then for every single, I think every single verse in the Bhagavad Gita, is it not? Does every single verse have a purport?
No.
Not every single.
Most do, but there are a few that are.
Bhagavad Gita,
Chapter 1.
Yeah.
chapter 1, like setting the scenes. Okay. Most, I'd say at least 90% of the verses, all 700 verses from the Song of the Lord, have a specific purport by Srila Prabhupada. And this is what makes the information that we're about to tear into bona fide, properly received. There are thousands, at least hundreds, of editions of Bhagavad Gita floating around. And I think there is maybe one edition published in English before Prabhupada came to the West and did his translations. But without a person in the disciplic succession of who originally spoke the knowledge and gave the interpretations of the knowledge, we can't digest it. Right. And everything happens also in terms of time, place, and circumstance. This is the importance, first of all, the importance of Srila Prabhupada in this regard, was he took all this ancient knowledge. This was sung over 5,000 years ago. There's 32 people in the line of disciplic succession from when this was first spoken. It's many generations. So Prabhupada took this and put the purports, the explanations, into language that we can understand today, modern language. Otherwise, we'd have no chance. Anyways, after all that hype up, this is Bhagavad Gita, chapter 4, verse 32. So, Krish, do you know the name of chapter 4 of Bhagavad Gita?
I believe it's the knowledge. No.
Knowledge is one of the words. That's good. That's the second word.
Almost
It's actually right there on the
Squint.
screen.
Squint.
Is it?
Yeah.
Transcendental knowledge.
Transcendental knowledge. Wonderful. And 432 is quite a popular verse. And I know we have some scholars in the room. Is it a popular verse? No. We've got popular amongst one in the room. He's not paying attention.
434. That's what you showed.
Oh, fourth. Okay. Let's back up 1 second. Okay. We're off to a good start. This was called the Sunday Scaries. Just too off. It's not in my notes anyway. I just assumed I'd have the right one on the screen. Okay, back to where we were. 434 is quite a popular verse. Does anybody know it off rip? Off the top of their head, the Sanskrit? Okay, first, you want a mic?
Tadvidi pranipatena pariprashena sevaya upadikshante jnanam jnanastu tattvadarshinaha.
Okay, anyone with not a broken voice? Possibly. No, can you pass the mic to Bishop? He might be able to enunciate it.
Tadvidhi pranipatena pariprasnena sevaya upadikshyanti te jnanam jnaninas tattvadarshinaha.
Wonderful. So many scholars here at this temple that can just look at numbers out of 700 verses and just know a verse like that. And I had Prabhu say the Sanskrit because Sanskrit is a special language as well. It's the language of God. Sanskrit, the syllables and the vibrations of Sanskrit, this is esoteric. I don't know how or why, but the vibrations of Sanskrit manifest their meaning. That's about all I'm going to say because I can't go into it further. But it's a special language, I'll just say that. So we'll do a little format where we'll have someone pick up the mic. Maybe we'll start with Krish Prabhu. And you can go line by line. Do you know the melody for saying the lyrics?
Correct me if I'm wrong.
Possibly.
There's more than one.
Yeah.
More than one. That's true. Okay, so you can go line by line, you say one line, and then everyone else can repeat and do that between a few people.
Tadvidi pranipatena
Tadvidi pranipatena
pariprasnena sevaya
pariprasnena sevaya
upadikshyanti te jnanam
upadikshyanti te jnanam
jnaninas tattvadarshinaha.
jnaninas tattvadarshinaha.
I think the next person should be
Vidi Mataji.
because her name is there.
I'm surprised Vidi Mataji doesn't already know this. Alright, let's try it.
Tadvidi pranipatena
Tadvidi pranipatena
pariprasnena sevaya
pariprasnena sevaya
upadikshyanti te jnanam
upadikshyanti te jnanam
jnaninas tattvadarshinaha.
jnaninas tattvadarshinaha.
Okay, one more person from this side. I don't know. Kailash, what do you want to try?
Tatvidi pranipatena
Tadvidi pranipatena
pariprasnena sevaya
pariprasnena sevaya
upadikshyanti te jnanam
upadikshyanti te jnanam
jnaninas tattvadarshinaha.
jnaninas tattvadarshinaha.
Okay, thank you. So yeah, when we all chant that together in loudly, I've said it a lot, but it helps kind of set the scene, set the tone for everybody. Alright, we can skip, we'll go to the translation. Okay, for translation on Mataji's side, Marisha Mataji, do you want to read the translation? Mike is coming.
Just try to learn the truth by approaching your spiritual master. Inquire from him submissively and render service unto him. If self-realized souls can impart knowledge unto you because they have seen the truth.
So there's a lot there. And we won't speak on it just yet. We'll wait for the purport. So that's the important part, right? We just heard the translation. Just try to learn the truth by approaching a spiritual master. Inquire from him submissively and render service unto him. The self-realized souls can impart knowledge unto you because they have seen the truth. there's a lot to unpack there. There's a lot to unravel. We can look at this and make many questions in our head as to what this means. Who is a spiritual master? How do I render service unto him? What does it mean to be self-realized? And what is the truth? There's so many things just off rip that come. So we're going to dive into the purport. And the beauty of Srila Prabhupada's purports is that, we're in the middle of the Bhagavad Gita, closer to the beginning, but we're in there. And we're in the middle of the 4th chapter, and there's 700 total verses. And this is just one of the purports. But as we'll see, there's so much to unpack and unravel within the purport itself. It's so rich with information. So, purport, we'll start with just the first line, and I'd like to pass the mic all the way back, please. And we'll start all the way on the left, my left, with Amaya. Thank you, Amaya, for joining. Amaya was one of my most recent roommates when I was going to UCM. And, but Amaya's, we don't have to do a whole introduction. Anyways, Amaya, would you mind just reading the first sentence of that purport? Can you see it properly? Is it big enough?
The path of spiritual realization is undoubtedly difficult.
What?
The path of spiritual realization. Oh my gosh. Let me restart. The path of spiritual realization is undoubtedly difficult. So already the first sentence of this purport, how much can we unpack? Let's find out. Okay. The path of spiritual realization is undoubtedly difficult. So some questions we can make. What is the path of spiritual realization? Why is it difficult? What is the other path? Why is spiritual realization one path? Where are the other paths? First, what I'd like to start with is, based on your understanding, Amaya, how would you describe the path of spiritual realization? No wrong answers. If you have something to say.
Well, my understanding of the path of spiritual realization is being able to live that fully in the present. So, being able to fully do that is difficult because there's so much noise from the outside world.
Oh, I like that answer. Living life fully in the present when you're being bombarded so many angles by so much noise. Does anybody else have something they want to throw out for the path of spiritual realization?
Answering the big questions. Who am I? What is this world? Is there a God? If so, what's the nature of this God? And what's my relationship between this world and this God, if there is such a thing or such a person?
Wonderful. So, inquiries about the nature of everything around us and ourselves. And you, my friend?
The self is not the body or the mind, the self is the spirit soul. Recognizing the real identity.
Recognizing our real identity. Anybody else want to give a stab?
So the first line in the Vedanta Sutra, Thato Brahma Jigyasa, when we take birth as a human being, that is the first thing we should inquire about ourselves. Who are we?
Yeah, very nice.
In one phrase, we can call them the existential questions. We exist, that is the truth that we all know. And if we exist, we have curiosity, jnana, and then there comes from curiosity the questions. Who am I, as Prabhuji said? And if I exist, is there a power that made me exist or come to life, And I think another one is, what is that in me that knows from the beginning of my life until this point? Is there anything like that, and what is it called? And there is an answer there.
Very nice. Thank you all. So I guess we can kind of extract from all those answers that, in a nutshell, the path of spiritual realization is trying to find out, who am I? Where am I? Why is everything going on? All these burning questions that go beyond our day-to-day activities. So here's another question, and Amaya, maybe you can chime in to start. Does she have a mic? Is there? Oh, you have a mic. So okay, that's good. What is the other path? What do you call that? And what are the characteristics of that? Do you have an idea?
Other path.
Yeah. If not, you can pass it to the next person on your left too. Grab the mic.
I don't really have a specific answer, but I feel like just kind of excess in any regard. Maybe on excess on both sides, or like abstaining from everything as well. Like just kind of not having the right balance about the actions that you take in your
That's so nice. What about Colin? Do you have anything? What do you say? Like the opposite of trying to understand your position. What does that path look like? Oops.
Perhaps trying to force yourself down a path by others, not one in line with your true self. Maybe what you think you should do. You should want a big house, the fancy job, whatever. Even if it doesn't align with what truly is your happiness.
I promise I didn't prep them. They're just naturally intelligent people. Tori, do you have anything that you want to say? Ditto. That's nice. We'll come back to you. How about from this side? Does anybody want to give any descriptions of characteristics of living a life away from the path of spiritual realization?
Short-term gratification.
Yeah.
Instant gratification.
Like an example?
Okay. Feels really nice going out to the bar until the morning after comes.
Mm.
And then show up late to work and hungover and etc. etc.
Go to the Denny's, breakfast.
With the money you don't have.
Yeah, $80 you spent the night before at the club. Yeah. Anybody in this ideas?
Like living in a world of I, me, and mine. Like everything is about me.
Okay. That's very nice. There's something to unpack there. Leave that for later.
I think simple opposite name would be non-spiritual realization.
Non-spiritual. So realization of everything but the spiritual side.
Exactly.
Is that it?
And otherwise, I can give another one. Scientific realization, something that looks for evidence.
Facts. Trying to make, like there's a theory of biology that goes around that everything since some lightning struck a pool of water has all been a series of chemical reactions up until this point. It all continues to be. Okay. So this is very interesting. I can go a step further on that opposite path. And like you said, Mataji, I, me, and mine. The path of cultivating name, fame, recognition, prestige, wealth, women or men. The path of spiritual realization is cultivating knowledge and realization on a true nature. And the opposite path, I would go as far as to say, is cultivating everything else, trying so hard to cultivate everything else. And some people can go even as far as they say, okay, well, I've figured out that trying to cultivate prestige or wealth for myself is not as enjoyable. Maybe I had a very nice life at some point, making a lot of money, living in a nice big city, and I've decided that's not for me. So I'm going to help other people cultivate wealth. Or even I'm just going to dedicate my life to, just helping other people generate this for themselves. So even that is problematic. And it's problematic. There's one differentiating factor between the two. And we can look at, first of all, the opposite, the non-spiritual, spiritual path. What is the problem with cultivating all the things that are attached to the body and can be considered material, position, wealth, status? What is the fundamental problem? Is anyone?
It's temporary.
We die.
Both of those things. That's very nice. We die, and it's temporary. We can even generate our fortune, or generate a fortune for generations to come. But all those generations to come will also die, and the fortune will also go away. Everything we see around us, all the people we know, all the trees, the sky, the clouds, everything about this universe eventually will also go away, vanish completely. This is the nature of the material world. This is the nature of the world. So then, what is the nature of spiritual knowledge? If it's the opposite.
Eternal.
Eternal. Permanent. Right? So, the problem with cultivating the body is that the body and everything attached to it will go away. We want to cultivate eternal knowledge because fundamentally, we are not the body. I know everyone has heard that before. You are not the body, you're not the body. Right? Does anyone have, just throwing this out there, does anyone have a verse that would relate such information, that we are not the body, but a soul?
2:14?
Do you have it?
No.
Anyone?
But
From chapter 2 somewhere?
you were here for
Dehinosmin yata dehe komaram yovanam ja tata dehantara praptir dirastachanamuyati. As the embodied soul continually passes in this life, from childhood to youth to old age, the soul similarly passes to another body at death. The self-realized soul is not bewildered by such a change.
Okay. Very nice. So that's one verse highlighting, it's just telling us, okay, you're not the body. But how do we know, how can we see this in practical application that we are not the body? I wanted to, there's one person that was supposed to come, maybe they got the time wrong, but I wanted to ask them to give a story about one time that they came this close to death. They drowned in very cold water after 14 hours of swimming, near exhaustion. And it was a very painful experience overall. But in the end, as his lungs were filling with water and he was dying, leaving, his description of his experience was one of bliss. His body was in this condition of utter pain. But what he felt and what he saw was a blue light, and he felt bliss and warmth, even though his body was frozen solid and his lungs were filled with water. And he didn't leave the body, and when he stepped back to reality in some hospital, dingy hospital in England, he was suffering again, very much in pain. So for me, that single-handedly is evidence as to how we're not the body. Now, in normal waking consciousness, we are the body. We are attached to the body. We feel all the sensations of the body, all the emotions of the mind. We feel, we're there, we're attached. But there's moments that can completely detach us. So our identity, our fundamental identity is not the body, not the perishable, material, temporary body. Now there's one more step to understanding why we care, why we want to care about the path of spiritual realization. Because right, I'm not this body, that's fine, that's cool. I accept it, I'm a spirit soul. my body's going to die, but then what happens to me? If I'm not the body, I'm not attached to the body. What happens to me? So in this world, we see a fundamental concept of physics. And in Sir Isaac Newton's terms, every action has an equal and opposite reaction. And what we're taught in school is we see that applied to gross material reactions. One ball hits another ball, and momentum transfers, and the other ball starts moving, right? It's the law of action and reaction. On a broader scheme, this is not limited to just gross reactions, but also subtle ones. It's the law of karma. And the law of karma states that things are constantly happening to people. Things are happening to us all the time that are out of our control. And one of the most fundamental things that's happening to the entirety of humanity, and the animal kingdom in fact, is that different people, different animals, are born under different conditions of life. Some better, some worse, right? Somebody is born as the son of a billionaire, while another person is born in Sudan, in a war-torn country. They have no shelter, constantly on the run, getting bombed. So you have two options to reconcile this fact that people are born under different conditions. First option, everything is completely random. Everything that's going to happen to me is completely random. So suck it up. Second option is that I'm in a certain position and things are happening to me as reactions of past actions that I've done. This is the law of karma. So on one hand, everything is random. I could walk out today and get hit by a meteor and be finished. Right? And this all could happen. Maybe that's in my karma, right? But the universe is not random. The universe has order. This is something we can see for ourselves. So that leaves us with the fact that when this body fizzles out, when it physically cannot keep going anymore, we're going to move on to another body. And one body, Hare Krishna, welcome, make yourself at home. We're going to move on to another body, and we're going to attain a body that we deserve. Everything that is happening to us that we can't control is something that we deserve. And there's both comfort and fear in that fact, depending on what your day-to-day life looks like, what atrocities you might be committing or not. So we've unpacked this, why do I care about spiritual realization? Well, I'm a spirit soul. And why do I care to cultivate permanent knowledge? Why do I care to feed my spirit soul, myself? Is because I'm not going to end along with this body. I'm going to keep going. Get some breeze, draft in here. I'm not going to end with this body. I'm going to keep going. So I'm permanent, in fact. These bodies are all temporary, and I'm shedding them. But I'm permanent. So I want to know who I am and what this is all about and why I'm here. Remember, this is just the first line of the purport. And we're all circling back to just try to understand what this is and why this is important. So, for the time being, right? Later on, maybe, we'll lose this body and move on. But for the time being, we're attached to the body is here. What type of body do we have at the moment? How would you classify this body?
A Homo sapien?
Homo sapien? Yeah, very scientific. I'm a human. Some souls have human bodies, some souls have animal bodies, and some souls have plant bodies. This is how it is. So I'm a human, right? And what are the necessities of my body. Does anybody know the 4, Srila Prabhupada quoted this a lot. Not quoted, but he said it a lot. What are the 4 necessities of my body? Eating is 1. Sleeping is 2.
Mating.
Defending. Oh, I can't raise my finger like that. 4? Okay. Eating, sleeping, mating, and defending. These are the necessities of my body. I cannot live comfortably without doing these things. So eating is pretty self-explanatory. I need the fuel. Sleeping, that is also self-explanatory. If I don't sleep, I'm a zombie. Does anybody know the official documented record of amount of days without sleep, by the way? This is inspired by Vajagovinda.
Oh, I always say that.
Not that he said it, but he was interested. What was it?
11 days.
11 days. Yeah, 11 days set by a young man at university age, I think. I don't know why he wanted to do that.
Finals, man.
Well, it's funny. He stayed up 11 days, and then they say he just went to sleep for 14 hours straight and woke up and went to school the next day.
He had a full recovery. He didn't have long-lasting detrimental effects because of the study.
Oh, yes? Okay. Don't try this at home. Guinness World Records actually doesn't honor any records like that because they say it's too dangerous to try. It's too dangerous to not sleep. We have to sleep. This is a fundamental necessity. Mating. That one is obvious as well. We all have our urges. These things come. And 4, defending. Defending is a bit of an umbrella term. You guys can just throw things out. What falls under the category of defending in terms of our actions?
Creating a house.
House, creating a house, yes.
Sometimes Prabhupada's given the 4, the 4th one is fearing.
Fearing, okay.
Defending, because we're afraid of so many things, we're trying to defend ourselves against the things we're afraid of.
We're trying to cultivate some way to protect ourselves.
And the ultimate thing we're afraid of is death.
That's true. If we're aware of it. Some aren't. Anything else that falls under defending, under that umbrella? Like, for example, making money. That's one of them.
Future safety.
Future safety. That 401k or Roth IRA. Let me max out my Roth IRA this year, and then I'll be okay. Then I'm defending, you know? And it doesn't apply to just us either. Some of us have families, you know? So defending, we're responsible for people even. Our children. So we also defend for them. We put away for them. We make sure they're safe wherever they go. They have a nice house to sleep in. So these are the necessities of the body. Now, remember, the second Prabhupada Pranam Mantra was Prabhupada came to deliver the Western countries which were filled with impersonalism and voidism. Now, the impersonalists and the voidists in general see these necessities of the body and they think, okay, well, these are the necessities of my body. I'm not this body. So my spiritual path is to, as far as possible, completely deny or limit the necessities of the body. Let me eat as little as possible and eat kind of bland, tasteless food. Let me sleep as little as possible. We hear yogis, you know, in India. I know I've heard stories. They don't really sleep. I don't know. That's what I've heard. Maybe a little bit, micro naps here and there. Mating, obviously. Okay, I'm going to abstain from even seeing the opposite gender. I won't see that. And then it won't activate my body in that way. And defending, I'm going to give up all shelter, all my money, wealth, possessions. I'll give up my family, everything. I'll put on some little cloth for underwear, a loincloth or whatever, and I'll go sit by a river. And what happens, happens. Yes?
I've heard the mating necessity described as not as much an individual necessity as a collective one. That if there's no mating, there'll be no humans.
Right. Yes. Many people, if you ask them, will say progeny is the purpose of human life. Creating children and creating a legacy is their purpose. Extending the family tree. I have 4 fathers, and so I need to create children below me as well to continue that legacy. So yes, the impersonalist avoidist will say, let's limit all these things, right? Because we're on the spiritual path. But in reality, Prabhupada came here and delivered us from all of that nonsense. Because he gave us a way to integrate all of these necessities into and turn it into spiritual life. This is the way of bhakti. Bhakti yoga is what we practice here. So people in this room, pretty much the large majority, all have jobs, they all work, or they go to school so that they can get jobs in the future. Some have children, they have cars, they have nice cars, maybe Tesla or something. They have nice homes. But what's the difference between the people in this room that have all these things and are doing all these activities and somebody who's not on the path of spiritual realization doing the same activities? The difference is the end goal. What are we doing these activities for? So now I'm seeing the time, and we've just gone only on the first sentence. And sometimes I can get going a little bit, like, this is beyond even my notes. So anyways, let's tie it all back somehow. We went down some path in some forest, I guess, and we saw two roads. One of them was non-spiritual, one of them was spiritual. And we said that we care about the spiritual road because we are spirit. And then we said we care even more because not only are we spirit, but we don't end with our body, we keep going. And this knowledge stays with us as we go. And we've seen that we have bodily necessities and we don't know what to do with them sometimes. So all these things culminate. And we didn't even get to the second part. The path of spiritual realization is undoubtedly difficult. Real quick, why is it difficult? Can anyone say?
Like,
Takes surrender.
Takes surrender. Okay.
I would say because it's like it's not evidence based. Like Mataji was saying, it's not scientific. Like science has you mix like HCl and some base and then it becomes salt. But spiritualization is not like that. Like you don't see like X plus Y become.
You can't see the soul through a microscope. Right?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah. Right. Okay. Yes.
Because we live in a society that encourages material indulgence, and you don't really find organizations that teach about the spiritual.
I feel like that's probably one of the biggest things, is that if we go down a certain path of spiritual realization, especially in Orlando, we're a bit ostracized we ostracize ourselves a little bit from the general mass of people, right? And we're communal creatures. We have to have a community, we have to have people. So it may be intimidating for many people to try to go down this path because their family, friends, and everything will say, hey, what happened to all this wealth that you were cultivating so nicely, all this prestige, all these things, right? I mean, if you go about it the wrong way and shun all of that. But we'll see, we don't have to go about it in such a way. Okay, deep breath. First sentence down. Yes, see how much this, oh my goodness. So the Lord, we will have to speed it up. No one can be, okay, so, yes?
I was gonna say the answer for the first line is a question. Why is it under?
Wonderful. That's the beauty of Prabhupada's purpose. Okay, so second reader, Tori, would you mind reading from the Lord to succession? Are you able to see? Okay. All right,
The Lord therefore advises us to approach a bona fide spiritual master in the line of discipline succession from the Lord himself.
And go down to succession as well.
No one can be a bona fide spiritual master without following this principle of disciplinic succession.
disciplic succession. Is there anything, any like short takeaway that you have from that segment you just read? Is there any way you can summarize that?
It's, I guess, a way to get better results would be standing on the shoulders of a giant with the spiritual leader. You can see over the mountain instead of just over the tree.
You want to come up here? I've got really nice notes.
What can we schedule you to speak?
Yeah, that's very nice. Okay, so we need help. So we went into what the path is and why it's difficult. And how do we solve the problem of it being difficult? We are advised to approach a bona fide spiritual master in the line of disciplic succession. And I wanted to share this with you. I could have sworn, I don't know if this is, maybe someone can confirm, I don't know which book has it, but I could have sworn in the Bhagavad Gita, there was like a disciplic succession from Krishna himself. All the way down.
Bhagavad Gita.
It's like the first or second page.
See, I really thought so.
Last page of the introduction.
Last page of the introduction. That's what it is. Okay. Ta-da. Okay, so I'll put it a bit bigger so that other people might be able to see. Whoops, that's not it. Let's try this. Don't look at my search history.
They all start.
Because we don't want to spoil what's coming. Okay, so this I found really interesting. Oh my gosh. Yes, alright. Here, remember what I said earlier is that this entire disciplic succession is documented. We have the names of every single person that came from Krishna who originally spoke this Bhagavad Gita, all the way down to His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Every single one. We know their names, we know what they look like, we know their teachings, everything. So anyways, that's what bona fide means. They're in that line of disciplic succession from the Lord Himself. No one can be a bona fide spiritual master without following this principle of disciplic succession. So, next. The Lord. Okay. Then, can I please have someone from the other side? My gosh, Nalini Mataji, would you please read from the Lord onwards and to the pretenders? Scroll down.
The Lord is the original spiritual master, and a person in the disciplic succession can convey the message of the Lord as it is to his disciple. No one can be spiritually realized by manufacturing his own process, as is the fashion of the foolish pretenders.
Okay. Any summary? Anything you would like to say about that?
Start with the original power or creator, who is the original spiritual master, and the word came down, trickling down, and follow that path is what I understand. And don't make up your own truth, don't create your own truth. And it says it has been a fashion lately to create our own truth. The word is coming to my mind, but I'd rather not sabotage their impressions.
Yeah, that's nice. Okay. Then Sanjay, would you like to read the next? Next few lines. Okay. We can go. I don't know your name, I'm sorry. Black shirt. Would you like to read the next couple of lines?
Sure.
Get the mic back. Pass the mic back. Okay. Read from the Bhagavatam all the way down to. Well, we'll keep scrolling to knowledge there, so I'll tell you
The Bhagavatam says,
Dharmam tu sakshat bhagavat pranitam.
The path of religion is directly enunciated by the Lord. Therefore, mental speculation or dry arguments cannot help lead one to the right path, nor by independent study of books of knowledge can one progress in spiritual life. One has to approach a bona fide spiritual master to receive the knowledge.
Okay. Anything, any couple of words you'd like to say? Show something. Anything that sticks out to you from what you just read? If not, that's okay. That's okay. Yeah, it's a skill, honestly. It's a skill. Somebody, some of you that come for Bhagavatam class in the mornings that we do here, understand you can read a whole couple pages of purport out, when you read out loud, and then you sit back and think, okay, what if I just read that? I have no idea. So that's a skill. That's okay. So for me, what sticks out is that nor by the independent study of books of knowledge can one progress in spiritual life. Right? So the Bhagavad Gita is there in all of its glory, but Prabhupada has no purports. Basically, what Srila Prabhupada is saying is that tough luck. You can't get the essence. And this is not something that's limited to spiritual life either. This is seen in material life as well, quote unquote material life, right? Nowadays, everything is online. So much information is out there. I did an experiment earlier, and I looked up a textbook on neurosurgery. And you wouldn't believe how many textbooks, just straight up PDFs, are free and online on the subject matter of neurosurgery. And I can study as much as I want, and maybe buy a dummy and some, little surgical tools from Amazon and practice on that, right? But no one will let me set foot in an operating room. Because where's your degree? Where's your accreditation? Where's the person that is a bona fide surgeon who told you, yes, he can do surgery, right? This is a common thing. All the information might be out there, but to grasp it, to internalize it, and to apply it is a completely, entirely different thing. And this is why we approach a bona fide spiritual master. This is why, when we read Bhagavad Gita, we read Bhagavad Gita as it is, and as it is explained by Srila Prabhupada. And this gives us everything we need to know. That's the beauty. It's a key that Srila Prabhupada gave us, a little key that unlocks everything. And everything comes from there. Okay, so we threw out the term bona fide a lot too. And I said bona fide comes in the to be bona fide means to come in the disciplic succession, right? So what is the qualification of being bona fide? Some people, at least I know before coming to Krishna consciousness and everything, I had this idea of guru as someone with he had to have some mystical powers, right? A guru, as soon as I found someone that could float off the ground for a couple seconds at a time, that would be my guru, I'll approach that person for knowledge. There's a short little pastime of Srila Prabhupada where he was giving a big lecture to a nice audience, and one young man who was not quite with all of it, he was just there and kind of speculating, trying to understand it all. If you've heard Srila Prabhupada's videos and lectures, and you've heard him speak and give class, his English, his grammar isn't always 100% on point all the time. And this young man had noticed this, and he was in the crowd and he was thinking, just see, Srila Prabhupada is this grand spiritual master, and he's about to make this grammatical error. He could feel it coming in this sentence, the way the sentence was turning out. So just see Srila Prabhupada, he was just thinking to himself, is this big spiritual master who's not going to speak English properly. And Srila Prabhupada I think he had his eyes closed while he was speaking, and he opened them, looked at the young man in the eyes, restarted the sentence, and said it in perfect grammar. The guy was floored, right? So, bona fide spiritual master, right? Maybe there's some pastimes of Srila Prabhupada that we can see, and maybe he can be known to have some powers or anything, but it doesn't mean he has some powers, some magical ability. What it means is that Srila Prabhupada is fully surrendered onto his own spiritual master. This is the qualification for a bona fide spiritual master, someone who you can get knowledge from. Is they're attached to that line of disciplic succession by fully being attached to the spiritual master that came before them. So, Srila Prabhupada exhibited this in another pastime. This was in India now. And this gentleman was an aspiring, he knew what spiritual life was. He was Indian, in fact. And Indians, we see, for the most part, maybe less now, but for the most part, grow up with some knowledge of God and who God is and who they are in relation to God. And so he was already quite intelligent, but he was new to the Krishna consciousness movement, new to Srila Prabhupada. But he knew that he wanted to take shelter, take initiation from a spiritual master. And so when he was in front of Prabhupada with all the fellow devotees, they were all singing in a song. They were all singing a song together. Just how we said the pranam mantras to Srila Prabhupada. They were singing a song in glorification of their spiritual master. For these people, it was Srila Prabhupada. And Srila Prabhupada was sitting there, up on his chair, probably similar to that, and he was singing along with them. And so this aspiring young person asked a senior devotee who was sitting next to him, he said, so this is a song glorifying Srila Prabhupada, but Srila Prabhupada is singing along? You know, what is that about? And the man said, yes, he's doing that because he's glorifying his spiritual master. And at that point, he understood and clicked, okay, this is my spiritual master. This is my guru, so to speak. Okay, we can move on. Okay, Bhaja Govinda, would you please read the next two sentences, because I think you have said that one of them is your favorite sentence in all of Bhagavad Gita. So, from such to spiritual life then.
Such a spiritual master should be accepted in full surrender, and one should serve the spiritual master like a menial servant without false prestige. Satisfaction of the self-realized spiritual master is the secret of advancement in spiritual life.
Anything that sticks out to you the most?
Anything that sticks out to me the most?
Yeah, from those two sentences. No wrong answers.
The secret of advancement in spiritual life. That sticks out to me.
Satisfaction. Sorry for that spiritual master. So we can go to, a so-called material example again, right? Some of you have been in this position, or maybe you've been on the receiving end, but you're at a job, corporate ABC Incorporated something, and there's a new hire, right? Or you yourself are a new hire, and they tell you, okay, go shadow Mike over there. Mike is going to show you the ropes, tell you how to do things, right? He's going to bring you up to speed on what's going on. Now, if you're in Mike's shoes, you're Mike, and this new hire Bob is coming. Are you more satisfied with him if he's coming and submissively inquiring to you, or if he's puffed up, he knows what he's doing and everything's going on like that? You want this person that you're training up, you're more satisfied, you're more pleased if he's submissive, no matter how much he knows from his degree or college or whatever, things run differently here. This is real world, right? We can apply that to the spiritual master. The spiritual master is going to be more pleased and more willing to impart information to someone who's receptive to it. This is a simple fact. And then there's the words, 2 words there, false prestige. Can anyone say, maybe people who've been to the morning programs, where the words false prestige also show up? In which text specifically?
Is it in the Srimad Bhagavatam?
Possibly. False prestige could pop up a lot. But there's one specific enunciated by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu.
Shikshastakam.
Shikshastakam.
It's in the introduction of Canto 1. So it is in the... Oh, it's Chaitanya.
Shikshastakam is in the introduction.
Teachings of Lord Chaitanya and summarize.
Alright. Then, there you go. It is in the Srimad Bhagavatam. Okay. So, false prestige, right? This is a big thing in spiritual life. And we can go into way in depth about humility and why humility is so important for spiritual life. But a simple fact of the matter is that we are more willing and happy to teach someone and bring them up to speed if they're humble, if they're submissively inquiring to us. And then there's the first line, a spiritual master should be accepted in full surrender. Now, surrender is also, can be a very esoteric term. But what I like about at least one lecture I heard from His Holiness Haladar Swami Maharaj was that he said, what does surrender mean in practical terms? In practical terms, it means to follow. Follow the instructions and guidelines set by the spiritual master who is looking out for you and who knows how to guide you along the right path. So we know about our bodily necessities, and we know that they're there, and we have to satisfy them in some way or another to stay balanced, to stay sane. So Srila Prabhupada knows that as well. And based on the time, place, circumstance, gives us a few things. He gives us some regulative principles, some quote-unquote negative action, some things to avoid, as well as some positive action. So first of all, the regulative principles. Just throw it out there. Number 1, maybe not in order. No,
Oh, wait,
not quite.
sorry.
Not quite. We're on robo mode.
Relative principles. No meat eating.
No meat eating. No meat, fish, eggs, onion, and garlic. This is one thing that we're given as a regulation. Number 2. No intoxication. Okay. Number 3.
No gambling.
No gambling. And number 4.
No illicit
sex life. Just meaning sex life without the plan of progeny in marriage. And what is the positive action, the single positive action that we're given by Srila Prabhupada for us, for our day and age?
Chant 16 rounds.
Chant 16 rounds. So here we chant the Maha Mantra, as you've seen, and we chant on beads to help us count. And there's 108 beads in a round. So we chant the Maha Mantra 108 times for one round. And we do that, we're told to do that 16 times during the day by Srila Prabhupada. So in practical terms, surrender, a spiritual master being accepted in full surrender, we have nothing, no limit actually, to accepting Srila Prabhupada in full surrender. Meaning, every day we follow the negative and positive regulations that he set for us. And it's that simple. And when we do that, knowledge comes. As long as we study and associate with the devotees, the knowledge comes. We don't have to worry, we're safe like that. Okay, we can move on. Satisfaction, the self-realized spiritual master, is the secret advancement in spiritual life. Next, Navya, would you like to just read the next part? Please. Okay. You can read, I'll just stop scrolling.
Inquiries and submission constitute the proper combination for spiritual understanding. Unless there is submission and service, inquiries from the learned spiritual master will not be effective. One must be able to pass the test of the spiritual master, and when he sees the genuine desire of the disciple, he automatically blesses the disciple with genuine spiritual understanding. Do I read on? In this verse, both blind following and absurd inquiries are condemned.
Anything that sticks out to you there?
So basically just to serve the spiritual master and do as he tells you and to not question anything stupidly.
Okay, stupidly. What is an example of questioning something stupidly?
Like asking, why do we have to follow the Bhagavad Gita?
Yeah, okay. Or just asking maybe questions that are a bit ridiculous and not so serious, And that won't actually, the answers to those questions won't actually help us. We're just answering them to be questioning things, right? So, in this part, what I love, and what I think is so eloquently put and straight to the point, both blind following and absurd inquiries are condemned. This is the unique nature of Krishna consciousness. It's a complete mix between the impersonal, which is, we're describing something that can't be described by words, so we just point to it, and you'll know when you know. And the other, you follow or you go to hell, don't ask questions. This is it. We have a mix. We have a philosophy and a religion. It all makes sense, it's all in a bow tie, and we know why we're doing the things we're doing. This is kind of a unique, amongst these days, unique position of Krishna consciousness, which is very wonderful. In the first part of this, one must be able to inquiries and submission, unless there's submission and service. So service. Srila Prabhupada gave us our things to follow, our way to surrender, right? Now what is the best way, what is the most potent way, say, to engage ourselves in the service of Srila Prabhupada? Sorry, where was that from? Book, you said book distribution. That's right. Srila Prabhupada came to deliver everybody, no matter what. So by distributing his books and distributing his message, we are bringing more people to him so that they can learn as well. So that's one of the ways. There's many other ways that we don't quite have to get into. But we need, in our lives for this surrender, we need the negative and positive regulation, and then we need something else to do with the rest of our lives, and that is service. So one could give up, not everything, but give up worldly comforts and 24 hours a day or 18 hours a day, go distribute Srila Prabhupada's books, or one can have a balance and a family life. That's for another day, I think, because there's already 6:18. So we said condemned, only, bonafide. Okay, so for the last part, there in the corner, the white, sorry, what was your name in the white shirt? What's? Sharma. Sharma Das.
Darshana Labda Sharma.
Darshana Labda Sharma Das. Hare Krishna. Thank you for coming.
Not only should one hear submissively from the spiritual master, but one must also get a clear understanding from him in submission and service and inquiries. A bona fide spiritual master is by nature very kind toward the disciple. Therefore, when the student is submissive and is always ready to render service, the reciprocation of knowledge and inquiries becomes perfect.
Anything that sticks out to you from that segment you just read?
Yes, hearing. Hearing is probably the first part of the service, right? To receive the instruction.
And submissively, right? And we already went over that and why that's important. So here, I love the way Prabhupada says this. When the student is submissive and is ready to render service, the reciprocation of knowledge and inquiries becomes perfect. Everything comes together at that point. The spiritual master knows you and knows what's best for you, Srila Prabhupada. And you're willing to serve and submissively hear, and so he is pleased to impart that knowledge as well. And this is the only way and a smooth way down the path of spiritual realization. So we can read the translation again of this verse. Just try to learn the truth by approaching the spiritual master, inquire from him submissively, and render service unto him. The self-realized souls can impart knowledge unto you. Right. Okay. So, quiz time. Amaya. Number 1. Sir? Quiz time.
Oh, quiz time.
Some questions for the audience. See if we can attention. What kind of body do we have? Homo sapien body. And what are the 4 necessities of this body?
This meeting, mating, defending, or fear.
And that's
Food.
perfect. Wonderful. Round of applause. Thank you so much for coming. Thank you for paying attention. Okay. Now, I didn't explicitly mention this, but Kamal, what would you say? The animals are also doing these 4 things. They're eating, sleeping, mating, and defending. What differentiates us from the animals? What is our unique ability and position as a human?
That we're aware that we're doing these things.
Okay, that's nice. Yeah. No, that's a nice answer. We're aware that we're doing these things.
And why we're doing them.
And why? And we can ask why.
Yeah.
The animals don't ask why, they just do. They're born with that nature. They have these certain habits. They don't even know why they're doing it, but they're doing it. But the human can ask why. Right? Okay, Marisha. Why do we care to embark on the spiritual path? Short word.
Because it's permanent, and everything else is temporary.
Okay, nice. Now, we're told that this path is difficult and we need to approach a spiritual master. Who is our first line of reference? Who is our first point of reference to approach, and how do we approach them, Krish?
By distributing works or rendering service.
Okay.
By serving him.
Yeah.
And doing what he said.
Following, surrendering.
Yes, surrendering.
Right. And then one of the most important parts.
Chanting.
Yes, definitely. And beyond that, understanding, how do you understand why you chant or why you serve or why you surrender? How do you intellectualize it to the point where you want to do it? Not that you're just beating yourself with a stick to do it.
By approaching.
Okay, reading Srila Prabhupada's books, right?
Yeah.
Both absurd, not absurd, no, yes, both blindly following and what else? Absurd inquiries are condemned, right? And either blindly following or just only sitting there speculating, both are condemned. We need to understand what we're doing and why we're doing it. We need to have our own desire and own intellectualization as to why we're doing these things. Otherwise, they'll never stick. You can try for a while, and then when you don't get any results or success, you'll give up. because it's difficult. We're told that this path is difficult. Hare Krishna. Okay. Navya. What makes a spiritual master bona fide? What makes Prabhupada bona fide?
If it aligns with the succession.
If he aligns with the succession. That's a nice answer. And he's attached to that line of specific succession by only giving credit and glorification to his own spiritual master. This is the sign of a real spiritual master. Now, something that might come down to present day, right? We all need help, and Prabhupada is approachable, but maybe he's not that approachable. So who is bona fide to give us help on our path that might be here present today? As in, what qualifies such a person to give us that help? Palash, could you say?
I would say
Very simple, one line.
he's glorifying like whatever we glorify to that person, he's glorifying his spiritual master, which is Prabhupada, and like to.
So that's it.
That's it.
So who's qualified to help us, who will help us, who can help us, is whoever is following Srila Prabhupada genuinely. Right? So we all need help, and we all have to read Srila Prabhupada's books, and we have to get help from somebody. And what we have to do, Sadhusanga, the devotees who are following, confirm who is doing that, because we all have to read, at the end of the day, we all have to read independently. And we have to confirm that these people are bona fide by recognizing what we read in them. Okay, so that's about it. One last thing. Unless anyone from the back row, do you guys have any questions, or are you willing to say anything? No, that's okay. That's okay. It means you learned everything perfectly, submissively. You got a clear understanding. I'll go into one last point as a bit of inspiration. Why would Prabhupada want us to fully grasp this knowledge and understand the meaning behind everything we're doing and the intellectualization behind all these activities? Is because Prabhupada wants us all to become gurus, spiritual masters in ourselves. He wants us to be able to reach out and give a helping hand to everybody else. And this is probably the greatest service we can do to him, for him. That's distributing books is one thing, but also the book has been distributed, the devotees here at the temple. And pleasing Prabhupada means to follow him completely so that you can become also qualified to lend a helping hand to somebody who may be struggling to grasp that. Because you need to get down on their level and be able to relate to them, to help them. It may be the philosophy and the activities are completely out of reach from where their position is right now. Everyone starts somewhere. So this is what we're trying to do. And this is our goal, to continuously help people. So with that, thank you all for coming, listening attentively, and participating so nicely. Thank you to my 4 dear friends in the back row for being open-minded and stepping out of your comfort zone after I asked you to. It means a lot to me. So thank you. Okay, so yeah, we'll get a jump start at 6:30.